They were never teammates. They were never rivals in the finals. They were never both in their prime, at the same time. But still, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are forever linked. Two of the most competitive athletes in sports history. Two men obsessed with winning. Who didn't just want to beat you? They wanted to break you. And yet, the greatest battle between them never happened. They faced each other just 8 times, but never on equal terms. Kobe was rising. MJ was already a god. The world wanted fireworks. But what we got was a handshake at the gate. And then, it was over. Jordan retired. Kobe kept climbing. But here's the thing. Kobe wasn't just inspired by Jordan. He studied him, moved like him, even talked like him.
Mike, after you face the ball, where else you left your feet? Yeah, but where else you gonna go? In the game, I go for you. I spun all the way around. I go for these ribs right here.
And Jordan noticed. He didn't dismiss Kobe. He embraced him. In interviews, in private conversations, and years later, in grief.
When Kobe Bryant died, a piece of me died.
Because while the world debated who was better, Jordan saw something different. He saw himself. He once said, "If you see me out there, you're watching Kobe. No ego, no hesitation, just recognition." So today, this isn't just about stats or awards. It's about the one matchup we never got, but always felt. Jordan versus Kobe wasn't a rivalry made on courts. It was something deeper, more personal, more powerful. Because even without a Game 7, without a title on the line, they changed each other. And in doing so, they changed basketball. So no, we never saw the duel. We never got the finals. We never got the back and forth. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Because in the hearts of fans, and in the DNA of the game itself, Jordan versus Kobe is still playing out. Every single time greatness steps on the floor. This is the story of Jordan versus Kobe, the one battle you never saw. Their real matchups, 1996 to 2003. They did face each other, 8 times to be exact. But it never felt like a rivalry. Because when they shared the court, one was beginning and the other was saying goodbye. The first time Kobe Bryant ever played against Michael Jordan, he was just 18 years old, fresh out of high school, coming off the Lakers bench. He scored 5 points. Meanwhile, MJ dropped 30, with that signature mid-range precision. For Kobe, it wasn't about winning that night. It was about getting close enough to study the blueprint. But Kobe didn't just observe, he absorbed. Each time they played, he looked more confident, more fearless. By their 5th matchup, Kobe exploded for 33 points. And then came the All-Star game in 1998. Kobe's first, Jordan's last as a Bull. It was the first time the NBA officially put them on the same stage. The old guard versus the new. Kobe guarded MJ, hard. MJ hit fadeaways right back in his face. The world was watching. And in that moment, it wasn't just mentor versus student, it felt like something bigger. Jordan won MVP that night. Kobe left with the message loud and clear. You've got to earn it. And even when MJ came back in 2001 with the Wizards, Kobe showed him just how far he'd come, dropping 55 points in their final game together. It was the perfect bookend. The rookie becomes the master. The last time they'd ever share a court. They weren't in their prime at the same time. But what we got was something just as rare. A real-time passing of the torch, in front of the entire world. Mirror images, how Kobe became Jordan 2.0. Kobe Bryant didn't just want to play like Michael Jordan. He wanted to be Michael Jordan. And for anyone who watched closely, it showed. The footwork, the fadeaway, the pump fakes, the jab steps, even the way they chewed gum. Kobe once said, "I stole everything from him." And he wasn't exaggerating. Every move Jordan had, Kobe studied it frame by frame. He would call MJ late at night, asking questions about the post, about defensive reads, about leadership. They weren't friends in the traditional sense. They were competitors with an invisible line of communication. Jordan knew Kobe was coming, and Kobe wanted to catch him. But this wasn't copy and paste. Kobe took the template and perfected it for a new era. Where MJ operated with power, Kobe added finesse. Where MJ dominated the mid-range, Kobe expanded to the three-point line. And where Jordan played with mystique, Kobe played with constant visibility. A new generation, raised on 24/7 media, watching his every step. Even their voices were nearly identical. Kobe didn't just mimic the way MJ moved, he even began to talk like him. Tone, cadence, delivery. Critics called it imitation. But for Kobe, it was honor. He grew up idolizing Mike, cutting film, wearing the shoes, watching game tape on VHS over and over. To him, there was no greater pursuit than chasing greatness, and that meant chasing Jordan, step for step. The result? At his peak, Kobe became the closest thing the game has ever seen to Michael Jordan. Not just in skill, but in mindset. The obsessive focus, the refusal to lose, the refusal to smile during games, the belief that pain, anger, and pressure were tools, not obstacles. There will never be another Jordan. But Kobe came closer than anyone else dared to try. Not by accident, not by fate, but through sheer will and relentless replication. And in doing so, he didn't just preserve MJ's legacy, he extended it. If they met in their prime, who wins? It's one of the greatest what-ifs in NBA history. What if Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant met in their absolute prime? No minutes restriction, no aging knees, no mentorship. Just two killers, face to face. Best of 7. Everything on the line. The matchup people dream about usually starts with this. Jordan's 1998 Bulls versus Kobe's 2001 Lakers. It's not just two legends, it's two dynasties colliding. Let's break it down. First, the supporting cast. MJ had Scottie Pippen, the perfect wingman, and Dennis Rodman, a rebounding menace. Plus Phil Jackson on the sidelines, a coach who knew both men inside and out. Kobe had prime Shaquille O'Neal, arguably the most dominant force to ever step inside the paint. And let's not forget, this Lakers team swept the West in 2001. So how would it play out? MJ would take the challenge personally. Probably guard Kobe himself. He'd try to break him mentally, trash talk him, push him into bad shots. But Kobe wouldn't flinch. He studied those moves, anticipated them, and had answers MJ had never faced, because Kobe was built by him. Offensively, both were killers. MJ lived at the elbow. Kobe loved the wing. Both had the footwork, balance, and mid-range mastery to trade buckets all game long. But here's where it gets tricky. Shaq. Rodman was elite. But could he really stop prime Shaq for 7 games? That's where the balance tips. Because MJ might have been the better all-around player. But Shaq was the nuclear weapon. Now imagine this. Game 7. Tie game. 1 possession left. The Bulls put it in Jordan's hands. The fadeaway. The shrug. History. But the Lakers? They've got Kobe, and you already know he's taking that shot. No pass, no hesitation, just legacy on the line. Who wins? It depends on who you ask. The old heads say Jordan. The new generation rides with Kobe. But the real answer? Basketball wins. Because this wouldn't be just a battle of skill, it would be a war of wills. Jordan had the edge in polish, efficiency, and control. But Kobe had the hunger to be his own idol, and that's a different kind of fire. In the end, it might not matter who wins the game. Because in this matchup, we don't just see competition, we see a reflection. The student versus the teacher. The mirror image versus the original. 2 players. The same obsession. Fighting for the same throne. And even though we never got it, the idea of that battle has fueled debate, inspiration, and imagination for decades. Sometimes the greatest matchups are the ones we never saw. The emotional legacy, father and son of the game. On the court, they were competitors. But off the court, Jordan and Kobe had something deeper. Not a friendship, not a rivalry, but something that felt more like family. Kobe always called Jordan his idol, his blueprint, his big brother. But over time, Jordan started calling Kobe something else. "That's my little brother," he said. It wasn't just a nickname, it was a bond. They didn't talk often, but when they did, it mattered. Phone calls late at night, conversations about footwork, leadership, mindset. Jordan rarely opened up to younger players, but Kobe was different. They respected each other's obsession, each other's pain, each other's need to be the best. It was a bond built on silence, sweat, and the same fire. And then came the unthinkable. Kobe was gone, and Jordan, the icon who rarely showed emotion, stood at a podium crying. He wasn't crying for a player. He was crying for family.
When Kobe Bryant died, a piece of me died.
That moment told us everything. This wasn't about stats anymore. This wasn't about who was better. This was about how much they mattered to each other. Because Kobe didn't just follow Jordan's footsteps. He honored them. He protected them. And in many ways, he continued them. When you watch Kobe, you were watching the echo of Jordan, a mirror image, shaped by admiration, but powered by his own identity. He didn't try to outshine MJ. He tried to earn his respect, and he got it. In the end, it was never about who won. It was about what they built together. A silent, spiritual torch passing between two legends who didn't need a Game 7 to prove anything. Two of the greatest players the game has ever seen. Two different eras, one shared obsession, greatness. Jordan and Kobe never met in the finals. They never went head-to-head in a playoff series. They never had that 7-game war the world craved. But somehow, it still feels like they battled. Because this was never just about basketball. It was about legacy. It was about one man creating the standard, and another man refusing to let it fade. Kobe chased Jordan harder than anyone, and Jordan respected Kobe more than most. Not because he was the next Michael, but because he was the only one bold enough to try. We talk about stats, we debate rings, we compare eras, but Jordan versus Kobe was never about numbers. It was about how much they pushed each other, even without being on the same court. And in that way, they did battle. In mindset, in preparation, in pressure. They fought through expectations, injuries, losses, legacy. They fought through everything, because that's what killers do. They don't ask for perfect timing. They just show up ready for war. So no, we never got the series. We never got the Game 7. We never got the final possession. But maybe that's okay, because what we got instead was the most powerful kind of rivalry, one rooted in respect. Kobe carried Jordan's spirit into a new generation, and Jordan kept Kobe alive in words, memory, and legacy. Their battle wasn't loud. It wasn't televised. It didn't trend. But if you love this game, you felt it. Every time a young star mimics a turnaround fadeaway, every time a player refuses to sit out injured, every time someone whispers, Mamba mentality, you're watching it happen all over again. Because Jordan versus Kobe never needed a final score. It was never about who won. It was about what they left behind. A standard, a mirror, and a legacy that still challenges every player who dares to be great. This wasn't the battle we watched. This was the battle we'll always feel. This is Game 7 Stories, where legends live and the what-ifs never die. If this story hit you, hit that like button and let us know in the comments, Jordan or Kobe, who wins and why. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that go deeper than just the highlights. We'll see you in the next one.